Hello and welcome again to my channel, JBSnippets. On the previous video, I showed you guys some quick updates on my existing plugins. If you haven't watched that video yet, you can click on the link here at the top right corner. Today, I'll be showing you a demo of my latest plugin that I recently published in GitHub and soon on the asset library. I'm sure you folks have been waiting for this, so let's get right to it. HitZone, Status, and Effect Node plugin. Let's begin by reviewing the concept of status and effect in gameplay and how they are typically applied within the game. What is a status in gameplay? A status is a condition or state applied to a character or an object in the game. It typically persists for a period of time and alters the behavior, attributes, or abilities of the character. Statuses can have positive or negative effects. Examples of statuses are poisoned, stunned, or burning status. How about an effect in gameplay? An effect refers to any immediate or temporary change or outcome that results from an action, interaction, or event in the game. Effects are usually more immediate and direct compared to statuses. They often occur as a result of an action rather than persisting over time. Examples of effects are damage, knockback, or healing effect. How do we apply a status in the game? The standard approach is to assign the status object to the character. This ensures that the status, which is typically long-lasting, remains attached to the character, allowing its effects to persist over time. But what about effects? Since effects are typically short-lived compared to statuses, we often apply them without attaching the effect object to the character. A prime example is how we handled damage application in the previous health node demo. In that case, we created a GD script within the spike trap to apply damage directly to the character. But what if you don't need to create or inherit scripts over and over? What if you can just add another node to apply the damage effect? The HitZone node plugin does exactly that. Define your status or effect once, and the HitZone will automatically apply it to any character body tagged for collision within an Area 2D. This plugin is designed to decouple effects from specific objects, allowing for the reuse of the attached status to character pattern. This eliminates the need to write or inherit code when creating effects. Simply create the effect and it will be automatically applied to objects tagged for detection by the HitZone. Let's upgrade our previous project and use the HitZone. I copy-pasted and renamed the old health node project to HitZone Status and Effects. So this is the demo project. And I'll show you some updates that I did to prepare this project. I'm now using Godot 4.3 stable. Well, at the time creating this video. And first off, as you can see, I've upgraded the tile map to tile map layers. So now we have layers for background, for sky, for trees, and the platform. You could also see that the health node plugin is still available here, but in the GitHub and asset library version, expect a different and simple health node component I made just for this plugin. Before we upgrade the project, let's quickly look into the HitZone plugin. So we have here the usual scripts. Let me just go to the scripts here. Cool. Now, this is the scripts to load and unload the plugin. And then we also have here the script for the hit zone with documentations as much as I can describe them. And under this folder, we have the status and effects included in the plugin. We have two effects, the damage and the knockback. We also have a status effect manager for managing the statuses and effects on a global scale. We also have a status effect resistance node to incorporate status and effect resistance to your node objects, and a status effect resource script to help you set up resources that includes data to create statuses and effects. Now let's start upgrading. I'll rename the scene to example hit zone. Let's rename this hit zone. Oops. And I'll also rename the file to zone. Sweet. That's all good. Let's save it. And then I'll go to the spike node and I'll add the hit zone here. Let's find that node, add a child, and hit zone over here. Sweet. Now let's look at the properties of the hit zone. Let me just go here and make it floating so that you can see at the middle. We have attack group, we have area 2D, monitor on read, auto hit, use manager, emit status, and emit before applied. So let's go first to this one, attack group. This attack group will be the node group affected by this hit zone. It's not going to be the enemy because it's going to be the player. So let's name this one as player. And let's assign an area 2D for monitoring. So our spike is already the area 2D. So I'll assign that one. Oops, where is that? Okie dokie. Let me just go and set this one to default so that it won't go out of the screen. Cool. Area 2D. What? Just assign it like this. Cool. And then go monitor on read. Enable this to set the area 2D monitoring on ready status. Read ready status. Okay, I'll tick this one because what I want is the spike the hit zone to always look for collisions when the area 2D is already ready. So I'll add that. Cool. Awesome. I think we're done with setting up the hit zone. Let's now add an effect. What I want is the spike to give damage to our health node. So I'll add a child. And there's damage here, but I can just do this and see damage. Yes. Alright, that one damage. So what does it says? Amount. This one is the amount of damage. Status effects. Need to update the script so that this documentation is always loading. We'll do that later on. Cool. Awesome. Next up is, let's go back here. Let's save it first. Go back here. Player. Right. Let's go and look at the player node and go to node and groups. As I suspected, we need to add a grouping here. So let's add a group. Let's name this as player because that's what we added to our hit zone. And I'll make it global. Cool. So that's the player. Next, what else do we need to do? Save this. Go here. Damage. Let's clean up the script. because definitely the script won't be used anymore because we want the hit zone to perform our damage. So let me remove this. And what else do we need? Oops. Signals. Remove this as well. Disconnect. And I think that's it. Let's close this one because I don't need that. All right, let's go back to examples. Now let's try it out. Let's play the scene. Let me move to the spike. Hey! Now this damage is being caused by the hit zone. Awesome, it's working. The good thing about having this hit zone is I could stack statuses and effects. So let's add one more effect. Let's go to the spike node and let's add another effect under hit zone. So I'll add a child node, and the knockback that I want is already here. So let me add that one. And let's go to the inspector of the knockback. Cool. And as usual, the description is not yet loading, but I can still remember this, the descriptions for this property. So let's first we have duration. It's the duration of the knockback. And then you have the force. It's the force for the knockback. So you can add more force if you want. Then we have the platformer property. I just recently added this property because the knockback effect, I first used it for a top-down game, but when I applied it here in a platformer style game, the effect for the knockback is not what I really wanted it to be. So I'll show it to you. I won't take the platformer property. Next, you have random chance. So this is where you can set the chance for the effect to be applied. If you have 100% chance, so it means it will always apply the effect. Or you could lower it down so that the percent chance for it to be applied is like, for example, 50%. So I'll just make it 100% so that it will always apply the knockback effect. Now the damage, I didn't add any chance to it because obviously you always want to apply damage. Cool. So let's go back to the example. Oh, I forgot to save. Let me go back and save it first. Then let's go to example. Cool. Now let's try it out. Now let's go and approach that one. As you can see, it's actually knocking back, but the effect of the knockback is not the behavior I want for a platformer. To revive it again. Because it's a top-down knockback effect, when it actually goes and hit the spike, it actually knocks it back upward rather than sideways. So let's fix that by going back to spike and the knockback, and let's take platformer and let's save it. Go back to the example and run it again. Now if I go there, it's knocking back at the side. Cool. So as you can see in the knockback effect, it's actually knocking back but very slightly. It doesn't have enough force and the duration of the knockback is very fast. So let's go back to spike and let's adjust the effect. So let's double the duration to 1. And probably I'll double this to 600 as well. Sweet, let's save that. And let's go back and see how the effect worked. Cool. Oh, awesome. That's better. Now, if I go and jump here, awesome. it's being knocked back at the correct angle and side. Awesome. Nice. So we have two effects in place. One is damage and one is the knockback without even creating scripts. Speaking of scripts, I want to extend or add more effects. So let's say you want to create your own effect or status. You just need to reference what I'm going to do. So we already have a damage effect. Let's create a heal effect. Let me create another folder here. And I'll call this one effects. And let me add a new script. And the script, I want to call this one heal for the purpose of this example. And let's just base it on the damage effect. Cool. I want to add from here to here. Copy it. And the important thing there is to extend from status effect because there are, let's go here, there are functionalities in the base class status effect that is needed for your statuses and effect scripts. Cool. Let's go back to heal. And instead of extending from node, I'll just paste this one. And I'll rename this to heal. I'll remove the documentations for now because that's not the amount. No, not the amount, not the description we want. And the state function is heal update. And what we want is this guy. This guy, that's not. And I want to have, because this is a heal, I want to have an absolute amount. So anytime that amount is negative, it will become positive. And yes, remove that as well. Awesome. Let me just quickly reload this project. Cool, project reloaded. And I also changed the value for the get class name. Previously it was damage, so let's I made it a heal. So that's done. Now let's go to heart. Let's go to the heart node and let's update this to HitZone. Let's add another HitZone for you and another effect, and this time heal. Awesome. So that's the heal. Let's add the heal and should be the same for damage. This time it's healing. Go back to HitZone and I want to make sure that this one is player, and I want to assign the heart area 2D, and I want to make sure that it's already monitoring on ready and it's auto hitting. Yep, I think that's it. Let's save it first before we remove the scripts. So first this one, let me disconnect you and let me remove that script because we don't want that script anymore. Close this one and let's go back, and then let's play the scene and see how it goes. Cool, let's get some damage. Ooh, and it's knocking back. Go back here. So much damage. Awesome. It's now doing the heal effect. Cool, cool. Now that we have these effects in place, let's add status effect resistance. I'll go to the player And I'll add status effect resistance. Oh, I haven't used it yet. Oh, so I'll do status effect resistance. Awesome. Let's just move it up here and let's go to the inspector and drop it down. As you can see, I've already added 2 of the effects here. The heal is not yet there, so I'll probably add it on the next update. But I want to add resistance to damage. Let's add 2 to that one and see how it goes. Cool. Let's go back to example and run the scene. And let's go to the spike to damage. Awesome. Look at that. It has -8 instead of -10 because it has 2 resistance damage. Sweet. How about the knockback? Now the knockback, I added resistance not really for force, but for the duration. So let me try and add a great resistance of 0.5. That means this resistance is greater than 0.1, which is the default for our spike, which is 0.1 duration. If that's the case, I expect the knockback effect to not be applied. So let's go here. And true enough, the knockback is not being applied. Sweet, that's working. Let's go back to the player, and instead of a 0.5, let's go 0.05, which is just half of the duration. So that means when I hit the spike, it will only knock it back half of the time instead of having a very long knockback. Sweet, it's working. And there you have it. We can create effects and don't need to worry about adding or inheriting scripts to another node object. We let the HitZone do that for us. Now, this demo focused on upgrading static objects, but you can use the HitZone with projectiles. You can also create your own status or effect by extending from the status effect base class, the one that I showed earlier. Hope this plugin will be useful for your game dev. I'll try to add more statuses and effects in the future. Please subscribe and help me grow this channel. Hit that bell icon to get notified of new videos. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, have fun. See you all on the next vlog.